Okay, today we're going to talk about ratios and proportions. You see ratios every single day. Well, let's talk about first, what is a ratio? A ratio is the quotient of two quantities. What is quotient? What does the word quotient mean? The word quotient means divide or division. Okay? Quantities or amounts. Two quantities. We have a bunch of amounts. We have 13 books, or we have 40 gallons. Those are all amounts. You can write a ratio 3 different ways. The first way is 1 with a T element of it to 2, or we have 3 to 4. Your two quantities have a T element. Another way would be as a fraction, because we know that a fraction is just division, 1 over 2. We can also write it with a colon, 2 little dots in the middle, 1 to 2. Give me some examples of what you know is a ratio. You see ratios every single day. You see probably 20, maybe 30, some of you more ratios every single day, and you may not know it. Write down 4 examples that you can think of a ratio. Put it on your paper right now. Now that you have 4 examples of ratios written down on your paper, I'm going to ask you for those tomorrow. Now let's talk about a proportion. What is a proportion? A proportion is 2 equal ratios. 2 equal ratios. It has an equal sign. The difference between a ratio and a proportion is an equal sign. You can also have, I suppose, 3 equal ratios that could be proportion. Is the following proportion true? 2 ratios that are set equal to each other. How do we know? Is it true? Is 3/4 equal to 36/48? Well, in order to find out, go ahead and reduce your fraction. See if either of them can reduce. Reduce them both to the lowest terms. Or, we have another way to find out, but we're going to go ahead and reduce. 36/48 divided by 12 is 3, divided by 12 is 4. 3/4. Is 3/4 equal to 3/4? Yes. Well, what's another way to find out if 3/4 is equal to 36/48? You can cross multiply. 3 times 48 is 144. And 4 times 36 is equal to 144. So they both equal 144, so we can cross multiply, and if they're equal, then we know that the proportion is true. Reducing proportion. Make sure you have the same units, if possible. Some things you can't have the same units, but some things you can. Make sure if you can, you reduce if possible. For example, if I have a ratio $12 to 45 cents, I need to reduce the proportion, but how can I do that? Well, $12 to 45 cents. Change your $12 to cents, or change your 45 cents to dollars. Well, how would I change my $12 to cents? How many cents are in a dollar? 60. So I would multiply the top by 60. You would get 720 cents to 45 cents. Let's see. So we know that we're talking about cents. Can I reduce 720 and 45? Absolutely. You can divide both of those by 5. Let's go ahead and do that. 720 divided by 5 144. 45 divided by 5. Can I go farther? Well, let's see. Absolutely, you can divide 144 by 9. What is 144 divided by 9? 16. So if I divide the top and bottom by 9, 16 to 1. Now make sure you leave your ratio 16 cents to 1 cent. In a fraction, we would just leave that 16. But in a ratio, we want to reduce, and we still have 16 cents to 1 cent. For example, when we talk about ratios, or the examples of ratios that you've seen, that you've written down, an example that I can think of is the price of gas. Dollars per 1 gallon. We don't say $3.63. We say $3.63 per gallon of gas. So in this case, 16 cents to 1 cent. How do you solve a proportion? Well, we talked about this a little bit. You cross multiply. Some of you like to cross multiply when you're adding fractions, subtracting fractions, multiplying fractions, dividing fractions. Some of you think it's the answer to everything. Well, it's not. It's only the answer when you're solving a proportion. We want to cross multiply. For example, exchange rate. Exchange rate is one way that we use proportions every day. Maybe not you personally, but people who are traveling to other countries that use euros, pesos, yen, whatever kind of monies they use in that country. Suppose I was traveling to South America. I believe they use pesos in South America, or Mexico. I think so. If $1 is equal to 12 pesos, how many pesos would be equal to $75? Now, the most important thing when you're setting up a proportion, okay, first thing is if I put dollars on the top here, $1 is equal to 12 pesos, I have to put dollars on the top on the other side. So I would have $75 is equal to, well, we don't know, X pesos. And then we can cross multiply. So I have 1 times X equals 12 times 75. What is 12 times 75? 900. So X equals 900 pesos. The other way to set up a proportion, if it's written in terms such as these, is you can make sure if you have $1 here, you can put your $75 here equal to, but make sure your tops match. Your 1 and 12 go together, so that means your 1 and 12 have to go here, together on the top. Okay? Make sure if they're here together, they have to go top. You can't put them opposite. You can't put 12 down here. So that means down here would be my X. And then when we cross multiply, we get the same answer. 75 times 12 equals 1 times X. So it's 900 pesos equals X. So there's two different ways you can set it up. You just have, order does matter. So be very, very careful. Order does matter. Your homework for tomorrow is page 61 through 63, 1 through 71 on, actually not